Good morning, I'm Raine Musñgi and welcome to Follow the Money. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. In an increasingly digitized world, Fintech is at the forefront of transforming financial services globally. In the Philippines, where financial inclusion remains a critical issue, the rapid rise of digital banking, mobile payments, and blockchain technology is reshaping how people interact with their money. Today, we dive into how economic uncertainty, regulatory challenges, and digital transformation are influencing the fintech ecosystem in the Philippines and beyond. Our guest today, Lito Villanueva, Executive Vice President and Chief Innovation and Inclusion Officer at RCBC. As one of the nation's top fintech thought leaders, Lito has pioneered numerous initiatives aimed at addressing the financial needs of the underserved populations. Lito, welcome to Follow the Money. Hello, and we're grateful that you can be with us today.
Thank you so much, Raine, and great to be here with you.
Right. So can you share with us how RCBC has taken on the fintech challenge and making sure that the underserved or financially excluded would be able to access you?
You know, RCBC has gone a long way insofar as pushing or promoting inclusive digital finance in the country. Even prior to COVID-19, in 2019, we were actually very confident when it comes to us having to really come up with our digital transformation journey. And, you know, Raine, it's also noteworthy to highlight the fact that in 2019, RCBC was ranked 8th amongst the largest private universal banks in terms of assets. And, you know, we leapfrogged after 3 years to becoming the 5th largest in terms of assets amongst the private universal banks. And I think this is really born out of our desire to really push for our inclusive digital finance and our digital transformation initiatives. And we've seen the scale by which the adoption of our consumers and also the exponential rate of our, in terms of revenues, in terms of gross transaction value, as well as our customers in embracing what we call, digital or physical digital blended banking experience.
Talking about customers, in fintech, it sounds kind of complicated, even if we have a huge mobile penetration rate here in the Philippines. Can you share with us how many of your client base have actually gone digital when it comes to dealing with RCBC and other financial products?
You know, Raine, it's a very good question. In fact, it doesn't mean that digital is the end all and be all. No? And you cannot, for example, for a developing market like Philippines, you really have to put so much premium on education. And you cannot convert the population overnight to becoming digital savvy individuals, because while the Philippines is a very young demographic, I mean, our median age is around 24 years old, and we have quite a number of digital natives, right? But you still contend with the fact that we still have other, other generations that would need to be educated, no? and for them to be comfortable about using digital channels. That's why we're providing so much impetus or premium on or investing heavily on education, right? So I think this is something that RCBC has been very open about insofar as having that collaboration. And of course, while you are doing that education piece, you're also doing the cyber education as well, right? Because we all know that in digitizing transactions, there would also be some bad actors or bad elements who would want to take advantage of technologies for evil purposes. So that's why there's a balancing act of having to ensure that we have that education, while at the same time having to deliver that delightful customer experience to every Filipino that we cater to.
Off air, we were talking about how about 50% of your client base is already fully digital. They're already engaging your bank through the app. Is that correct? And can you share with us what kind of demographic your digital apps and experience is reaching?
Raine, in terms of our digital strategy, we are very clear with our vision of having to cater to both mass affluent and mass market. So we have two mobile apps right now. We have RCBC Pulse for the mass affluent, and we have Discartec for the mass market. And we also have what we call BOZ, which is really meant for our small, medium, and MSMEs segment. And of course, we have RCBC ATM Go. That is actually the Philippines' first kapitbahay ATM. No? And in fact, Raine, if I may also tell you, I just came back from Singapore and to receive now the recognition from Euromoney, and RCBC was recognized as the Philippines' best bank for digital and the best bank for MSMEs. And it's really a delight, and it's very humbling experience to be with global banks as well, or global bank brands that were present during the awarding ceremonies. I mean, and I think this is really an indication that we're doing the right thing, but definitely our journey is not yet done. There's still so much work to do, and I think especially when we came up with all of these innovations, it's what we call innovations with empathy. So we are not doing all of these initiatives just for the sake of having to have one, or just to wow your customers, or just to wow your audience, but it's really meant to really address some pain points, and having to realize and to really feel the pains of our customers. And at the end of the day, the bottom line really is on how we can create social impact. And just to cite an example, I mean, just like what we're talking about here before we went on air, our RCBC ATM Go, as I've said, is our community banking. We call it barangay banking. And RCBC now is the only bank that has the most extensive reach using that ATM Go terminals, covering 100% of provinces, 100% of cities, and about 86% of all municipalities. And it's really very fulfilling for us to have served over 10 million families using all of these technologies. And you'll also be delighted to hear that around 70% of all transactions were done by rural women, and 80% of our merchant partners, our agents, are located in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. So, and this would really tell you how connected we are insofar as having to really cater to the demands of our customers and being able to listen to their needs, right? Because in having to come up with your vision, in having to come up with your strategy, listening is the key, right? Yeah. In having to ensure that you have something that would really give your customers, that delight and that social impact that I've mentioned about these particular initiatives.
I'm happy to hear that that financial inclusion is definitely a huge part of your strategy. But on a daily basis, these people who are engaging you from the mass market and the mass affluent, can you show us the difference? Can you share with us what kind of activities they engage with you in on a daily basis?
If I may share, financial inclusion is not just about payments. No, I call it. I have that acronym PISIL, PISIL. So this would be the pillars of financial inclusion. So it's about payments, it's about investments, it's about savings, it's about insurance, and about lending or credit, right? So if we are now to provide every Filipino family or every Filipino household with the whole slew of financial services, then you could say that you have that holistic proposition to really uplift the lives of our unbanked and underserved communities. And in fact, if we are to talk about some metrics, the BSP together with the industry supported what we call the Digital Payments Transformation Roadmap. And that roadmap called for twin goals. Now, first is on having to convert at least 50% of our retail financial transactions to digital, and onboarding 70% of adult Filipinos to the formal financial system, or having this 70% adult Filipinos to have transactional accounts by end of 2023. So the good news is that it was also made mention by our our governor and of course DG Mert Tangonan, that we were able to achieve the first goal, which is to at least convert 50% of our retail financial transactions to digital. In fact, as of last count, it is around 52%. No? Imagine we started that with just a measly 1% share of digital way back in 2017. And fast forward to 2024, by mid-2024, we now have 52% no, of share of digital transactions. So again, this is a collaboration of the partnership across all industry players and shareholders, especially having to have a very responsive, dynamic, and proactive regulator. No? So that's why we're very thankful as a player in the industry to be really, helping our government to really make, make a dent in society. So I think just to go back to that question about having to really push for financial inclusion, when we launched this CarTech, which is the Philippines' first Taglish and Cebuano super app that's really meant for, banking the unbanked or underserved, we have seen the exponential growth in terms of deposits. And in fact, we have seen also the exponential growth in terms of transaction. And this is something that would really tell you that these are some of the initiatives or digital initiatives that would really cater to some specific needs of our target market. And in fact, when we launched our digital lending service, we were also pleasantly surprised that in a matter of 8 months, the share of digital channel in our digital lending service was at 48% already. So, and we are projecting that before the end of this year, it will be over 50%. And that will really give you a glimpse of how digital is now being embraced by a majority of our Filipinos, right? And I think, again, because of convenience, because of security, because of efficiency, and of course, and of course, the most important thing is about transparency.
You're bringing up a lot of questions as well, a lot of inquiries on interest rates. What kind of interest rates are we applying on the digital apps as you push for lending through the apps? And then in terms of financial inclusion, how many more are we supposed to be targeting across the country? And perhaps as a third one, competitively, since you did win Best Digital Bank in Singapore recently, how are we faring across the region, the Philippines, comparing with the rest of our neighbors?
We are trying now to position the Philippines, as the Asia's digital hotspot, and we have seen that most of we have seen what we call the investment winter, insofar as fintech is concerned. We are now seeing some glimpse of hope, insofar as having to have more investors coming into the Philippines and more players. In fact, just to give you an indication, we are very much delighted that we have exceeded the target of the Philippine Development Plan in having at least 285 fintech players in the Philippines by end of 2028. And in fact, we exceeded that by more than 20 fintech players by end of 2023. So this is an indication that there are more players coming into the Philippines. And in fact, as what was mentioned by the BSP, there will be more digital bank players starting January 2025, because from the 6 digital bank licensees, it will be increased to 10 starting next year. But these are, and of course, you've seen GCash, wherein they also got a fresh equity infusion and having to be the first $5 billion valuation in the Philippines.
Unicorn.
So, so I think these are some of the good news that we are now seeing, at least for the Philippines. And with that, just to mention that we will again mount the Bagong Pilipinas, the Philippines Country Pavilion, at the Singapore Fintech Festival this November 6 to 8. And just to let you know, Raine, that this is the biggest, the world's biggest fintech event in Singapore, attended by over 70,000 participants from around 65 countries. And last
With
year,
the goal of?
yes,
With the goal of?
with the goal of having to share global best practices and having to also, you know, be able to see or meet potential investors, and also to launch any new innovations or new products in the market during that 3-day event. In fact, Raine, when we started this last year at the SFF, amongst the 19 country pavilions at the SFF, the Philippines pavilion was the most visited, with the most number of participants, with the most number of foot traffic, because of the content that we were able to curate.
Which means there's a lot of interest,
so much interest
in entering the fintech industry here in the Philippines.
Precisely.
Still a lot of things to discuss, but we need to take a break. We'll be back with Lito and RCBC after just a few reminders. Follow the Money is taking a quick break. Back in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're still with FinTech guru Lito Villanueva. Lito, we were talking about still a lot of market to cover, but we, apart from, of course, the lower socioeconomic classes, the affluent classes are engaging with the app and through FinTech. You know, we're not talking about old school people going to the bank physically to deal with their money concerns. What kind of affluent set are we dealing with here?
You know, Raine, good thing you asked that question, because for RCBC, I mean, we are known as the partner for generation, and we have seen, for example, for our wealth management, we have now seen the 4th generation of wealth management customers or clients, and in fact, to your point, it's really a mix of the old customers, or the senior customers that are affluent, who are still into that way of dealing with personal person-to-person
right.
dealings with their account managers, right? And while their grandchildren, who will now be their 4th generation wealth customers, would now be more digital savvy, and would want to really look into the digital way of banking, right?
What kind of activities are they
you'll be surprised, because for RCBC, we have that mix, right? And we have quite a number of digital innovations that would really cater, or that would really push our wealth management, our UITF, our investments, our trust products. And it's really more about bundling, right? And having to make sure that you really have that 360-degree view of your customers, right? And having to make sure that you are with them along the way, and be able to really practically second guess what they would really need in terms of having to create their wealth, right? So that's why we have a very good senior management committee. All our business group heads are very collaborative insofar as having to have that cohesive banking portfolio or banking products that are meant to provide innovative initiatives that would really provide awesome customer experience, right? Because with that mandate coming from our digital savvy President CEO Eugene Acevedo, I think we're the only bank right now wherein our President CEO Eugene Acevedo mandated that all our managers up, even the members of the board of directors, must have an AI certification. And because that AI is is the buzzword right now, and it's more about having to embrace AI, of course, with caution.
Have you?
Yes, we're very much advanced in terms of AI, and we have over 50 professionals or experts on data science. We have data engineers, data scientists, and we have come up with quite a number of machine learning models within the bank. And that really.
How are you using it? And which services?
We're using that for upselling, reselling, upgrades, etc., and bundling, cross-selling, and it really provided us with so much value because, just, in hindsight, through this data, leveraging on data, we could actually, we have met, well, practically having to have this successful bundling or cross-selling by more than 50%. So this would be some of those things that I would like to showcase.
All right, we only have a minute left, but perhaps because you are a consultant to the whole fintech industry, chairman of the Fintech Alliance as well, can you share with us what would be your vision for fintech in the Philippines? What else do we have to do? What is the biggest goal that we're supposed to go after?
I think the biggest goal that is being shared by all the stakeholders within our ecosystem is really having to find that sweet spot of having to really bank the unbanked and underserved communities. While we have seen the exponential growth of unbanked or underserved Filipinos to be now part of the formal financial system, what we also need is for them to have that usage component, right? Having to onboard them is one thing, but having them to use it and to regularly make use of that in their daily lives is another thing. So that's another challenge. And I think the sustained education campaign on cybersecurity is a must.
Well, thank you so much, Lito. Lito's vision is clear to ensure that innovation serves the greater good, particularly the underserved populations, making a lasting impact on the nation's financial landscape. Thank you so much, Lito, for your invaluable insights and for leading the charge in making sure that financial services are more inclusive and accessible to all Filipinos.
It's my pleasure.
We mean that. We appreciate you. And before we go, we'll leave you with this thought from fintech investor Arvin Sangkaran. Fintech is the bridge that connects the underserved or unserved to the global economy. And that's it for today's edition of Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it here on BNC, the Billionaire News channel, always on top.